Professor, when you say there are hiccups in the convictions of high-profile cases, a lot of Nigerians will be interested in that. They want to know why these high-profile cases are not being brought to an end. What are these hiccups?
Well, you know that before the Administration of Criminal Justice Act was passed, a lot of things were going on. Our senior advocates will automatically file a preliminary objection contesting the jurisdiction of the court over a corruption case, whilst knowing definitely that there's no doubt about jurisdiction. And then the whole case will be stalled, concentration will be put on the preliminary objection, and then from after 2 or 3 years, once a ruling is given, of course, with the court confirming its jurisdiction, there's an appeal to the Court of Appeal. The same process is gone through all over again, and with the same result, the matter goes again to the Supreme Court. After 5 years, it is confirmed that the court has jurisdiction, and then we are back to the High Court for the trial, which ought to have been completed 10 years earlier. Of course, in the interval, witnesses might have died or disappeared. The trial personnel might have become judges. The prosecutor might have become a judge. So many things would have happened. A lot of political interference would have occurred. And of course, prosecution fatigue would have set in. So this was what it was. But all that has ended now with the passing of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act. That is why I expect that in the coming year, we are going to see a lot more convictions, and this position has been strengthened by the decision of the Chief Justice of Nigeria directing all high courts in the country to designate specific courts in their jurisdictions as corruption courts, anti-corruption courts. And then, of course, establishing a committee that will monitor all corruption cases in the country.
All right. For that committee, Professor...
I think the personnel of the monitoring committee needs to be... the personnel, those constituting the committee, there's need for a rethink, particularly with regard to the former president of the NBA. I think the appointment of Justice Salami is perfect. It is the best choice possibly. But supporting him should be people who have not been involved in corruption cases, defending high-profile cases of corruption. And I think the former president of the NBA have been very much involved in this. And their orientation is to defend those charged with corruption, and there are some who actually still have cases going on, which will result in conflict of interest. So I think that needs to be, there's a need for a rethinking in that area.
All right. That's perhaps one question I wanted to ask, but you took it out of me. But that's fine. But there's something that worries me, though. You seem to have been in collision course with some powers that be within the ruling APC. What exactly has happened? Are you frustrated by that, Professor, in your duties?
I beg your pardon? I didn't get the question.
I did ask if recently you've been in sort of some collision course with some powers that be within the ruling APC. What has really happened? Are you frustrated recently by some of these ongoings?
Okay, let me try and put it in a very simple way without mentioning names. If you have within a party which has a specific mandate to fight corruption and at least reduce it drastically to a level that it will not stall our development and our future. If you have such a mandate, and then you have within that party people who are actively promoting corruption, who in fact are themselves subject of major subjects of corruption charges who are themselves the promoters of corruption, and they are defying the party in major issues that would have assisted the government in eradicating corruption. My view is that it is better to totally remove people of that nature and have a smaller party in which everybody has confidence in themselves, rather than to have a large party in which people are doing things that are absolutely contrary to what the program of the party stands for. And my view was that the party leadership, the party hierarchy, I'm not talking of the government, I'm talking of those elected as chairman and so on, of the secretary and so on of the party, are condoning the situation I'm talking about. They are appeasing those who are guilty of all these things I'm saying, and therefore setting a stage for the party to have a serious problem when there is need to convince the nation that it is entitled to have another term or more terms in government.
All right.
Because,
Professor, I'm afraid.
Show me your friend, I will tell you who you are.
All right. Thank you so much, Professor Sage, Chairman, Presidential Advisory Committee on Corruption. Thank you so much for your time this evening. Up next on the program, the car is not in good shape. It has to be fixed, and the car must not stop. That is what the presidency said they are faced with. The president said they are just getting started.